Hello students, standard 8. Today we are going to start the revision of chapter number 13, direct and inverse proportion. Now, when we are familiar with the ratios, ratio is the miniature representation of the two quantities. When we take the ratios of two quantities, we remember that they must have same units. Otherwise, we will not be able to find the ratio of them. Now, we learn about the two types of proportions, direct proportions and inverse proportion. So let us understand first, revise your knowledge that when there is a direct proportion and in which situation there is inverse proportion. When we compare the two quantities and if the value of one quantity increase, then the value of second quantity also increases with the same ratio. Or the value of first quantity decrease according to the value of second quantity also. Then we can say that they have the relation of direct proportion. And when there is a direct proportion, then their ratios will be equal. For example, if you buy some articles from the market, for example, you buy one notebook and you pay 20 rupees for that notebook. Now, if the number of notebooks will be increasing, if you buy 2 notebooks, you have to pay 40 rupees. If you buy 3 notebooks, you have to pay 60 rupees. So here, the number of notebooks is increasing, same time, the total cost is also increasing. Then we can say that the number of books and a number of cost, means total cost, have the direct proportion between them. And when the two quantities x and y, if two quantities x and y are in direct proportion, then what we said? Then we can say that x upon y is constant. We also denote that as x is directly proportional to 1 upon y. And therefore, we can write down x is equal to ky, where k is constant. And so, we write down x upon y is equal to k, or the constant. So when it is a direct proportion, we have to do like that. And I will give you example, the number of books and total cost. They have the relation of direct proportion. Similarly, area of floor and cost of fixing tiles. If the area is bigger, the cost will be bigger. If the area is less, cost will be less. Liters of petrol and distance covered in that petrol. Distance covered. So if you have more liters of petrol, you can cover more distance. If you have less petrol, you can cover less distance. So here, all these are the examples in which we can say that they have direct proportion. Now, the other types of proportion is the inverse proportion. Now, in inverse proportion, it is little different. In inverse proportion, if the value of one quantity increase, then simultaneously the second quantity will be decreased, and first quantity will decrease, the other quantity will increase. Then we can say that they have the relation of inverse proportion. For example, if I have 100 chocolates and I have to distribute it among the students, among the children. Now, if there are 100 children, then each one will get only one chocolate. But if there are 50 students, 50 children, then each of them will get two chocolates, because I have 100 chocolates. So if I give 2 chocolates to each of them, then the 50 children can get two chocolates. But if there are very less children, only 25 children, then they will get more chocolates. 25 times 4 is 100. So each one will get 4 chocolates. If there is only 10 children, each will get 10 chocolates. So here the number of children is decreasing, but the number of chocolates they get will be increasing. 100 students, only 1 chocolate to each. 50 students, 2 chocolates. 25 students, 4 chocolates. 20 students, 5 chocolates. 10 students, 10 chocolates. So here number of children is decreasing, but the number of chocolates that they will get is increasing. So that type of situation is known as the inverse proportion. Now, here we show that in direct proportion, if x and y are in direct, then their division is constant. But in inverse proportion, their product will be constant. So if the two quantities x and y are in inverse proportion, then xy is constant. Then the product of them is constant. Means we write down as x is inversely proposed to y, so 1 upon y. So x is equal to k upon y, k constant. It means that xy is equal to k. And examples I say that number of children, number of chocolates they get. Also we can take another example that if we want to finish a work, then if you employ more people, that work can be completed in less days. But if the number of employees are very, very small, little, then it will take more time. So, the number of workers and the days to complete that job is also in the inverse proportion. So, number of workers and number of days to complete the job. So in this situation you can see that similarly speed of vehicle and distance covered in a specific time. If you have to cover the distance, then if the speed is more, then they will actually speed of vehicle and time taken to cover distance. So if you have to cover some distance, then if your speed is more, you can cover that distance in less time. And similarly, if you go slowly, it will take more time to reach their destination. So here also you can see that they will have the inverse proportion. So that is the thing we have to remember in the situation of the direct proportion and inverse proportion. So now let us take some blanks first, and then we will do some examples related to the direct proportion and the inverse proportion. So first we will take some blanks, fill in the blanks. First one, the ratio of 16 and 24 is blank. So now here 16 is to 24, so 16 upon 24, 8 2s are 16, 8 3s are 24. So by simplifying we can write down as 2 is to 3. So whenever we find the ratio, we have to write down the answer in its simplest form. So whatever the common factors are there, we have to cancel and write down the simplest form. Second, the ratio of rupees 25 and rupees 75 is blank. So now 25 is to 75. So 25 upon 75, 5 5s are 25, or you can write down as 25 1s are and 25 3s are, as 25 3s are 75. So 1 upon 3, so your ratio is 1 is to 3. Next, if the values of two quantities depend on each other in such a way that a change in one results in corresponding change in the other, and vice versa. Then the two quantities are in dash proportion. So here same thing is occurring. Then you can say that they have direct proportion. Next one, the two quantities may vary in such a way that a change, that if one increases, the other decreases. The other decreases. Then the two quantities are in dash proportion. We saw that it is the inverse proportion. When one increases, the other decreases, and vice versa. Then we can say that they are in the inverse proportion. Fifth one. If the cost of 6 books is rupees 90, then the cost of such 7 books is equal to rupees black. Here, as we know that it is the direct proportion. So x, y, number of books and cost, we take as x and y. So now number of 6 books, it costs rupees 90, and we have to find the 7. This one we can take as x1, x2, y1, y2. Here it is case of direct proportion, and so we can take as x1 upon y1 is equal to x2 upon y2. So 6 upon 90 is equal to 7 upon y2. Here we have to do the cross multiplication. So 6y2 is equal to 7 multiplied by 90. So y2 is equal to 7 multiplied by 90 upon 6. 7 multiplied by 90 upon 6. 15 6 are 90. So rupees 110. So by this method we can find out. Let's take one example. The ratio of rupees 2 and 2 months is, here you can see that it is rupees, here it is months. They have different type of quantities, and then we cannot find the ratio. So it is not possible. So here we are going to finish today's session. In the next session we will do some more examples related to direct and inverse proportion. Thank you very much.